Welcome to the Emotional Eating Unwrapped podcast. I'm your host, Alana Kessler, an emotional eating and weight loss coach for women looking to fall in love with eating, create healthy attachments with food, and lose weight sustainably. Hello, and welcome to another new episode of Emotional Eating Unwrapped. I'm your host, Alana Kessler, and today I want to talk about something that creeps in to our brains every year around this time. And it doesn't always shout, but it does whisper loud enough that you can begin to start second guessing yourself. It shows up in Instagram captions, in detox ads, in the energy of group chats, in planning beach vacations, trips, weddings, rooftop brunches, right? The energy of summer. Okay, we're going to talk about reclaiming your body, your summer, and yourself, and what it means to have a real quote unquote glow up. Because the message, right? The message that is coming through that is quieter than it used to be, but it's still constant, is that this is the season where it's time to improve yourself. And more specifically, now is the time to fix your body. And if you've been doing the healing work, if you've been learning to regulate your nervous system, you've been learning how to eat with more ease, how to choose self-trust over restrictions, then this message that comes through during this time of the year, right, when it starts to get warm, when we start to expose more skin, this message can start to feel like a betrayal. It can be triggering. It can feel like the world is asking you to abandon yourself again. Just when you've been starting to feel authentically at home in your body because of all of this rooted work and this grounded work and this more mature and deeper work that you've been doing around eating, around body image, and around your belief systems and just narratives and all of that underneath stuff that you've been working on, and you've been getting to a place where you feel like you're more comfortable facing some of this stuff. When summer comes around, no matter what bow it's wrapped in, that feeling of needing to change yourself from an external place starts to creep in. So in today's episode, I want to unpack what's really happening beneath the surface of summer body culture and how we can approach the season without slipping back into old cycles of shame, performance, and control. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the subtle conditioning behind self-improvement messaging, because it's so wild how fast we can get pulled back into old loops, even when we intellectually know better. Even when we've done the therapy, when we've unsubscribed from the diet emails, when we've unfollowed those influencers and we've muted the accounts of people that only care about physical changes and only show before and after photos. Okay? Because self-improvement culture and those types of messaging about changing yourself, they're not as obvious anymore, right? It doesn't always sound like this is how to lose 10 pounds in 10 days. This is how to lose fat percentage, right? It doesn't always come dressed up in Weight Watchers points or beach body shake plans. Right now it wears a softer mask these days. We're told that it's empowerment. Okay, so this messaging, right? This messaging of I need to change myself in order to in order to enjoy the season, in order to feel belonging in the season, in order to feel like I'm valued and desired in the season, the message is now a softer message, but it's still the same. We're told it's confidence, right? Something that looks like self-care, but underneath still makes you feel like you're not enough yet, right? You see it in the language of glow-ups, in the get ready for summer reels, right? Hot girl walk, right? Like there's messaging underneath here that attaches something to something, but the words aren't like lose 10 pounds. It's like improve, right? Like improve yourself, like create a better, feel radiant, right? It's in articles about what your skin, your wardrobe, your body should be doing now. And the thing is, these messages don't usually yell. They're not as overt. They're not as obvious. They're not as like 1980, right? Where it was like slim fast your way to lose 20 pounds and look great in a bikini. Like that's not what you're hearing, right? They don't specifically say you're not worthy, but they whisper, wouldn't you be more lovable if? Wouldn't you be more radiant if? Wouldn't life be easier if you looked more like this and radiated and glowed? And if you're someone that's carried shame around your body, or if you've ever tried to earn your worth through discipline, if food has been your secret rebellion or your secret reward, then the whisper that you're hearing about, about the glow up or about the glow meals, it doesn't feel like a whisper. It feels like a shout, and it feels like a familiar one to your body, right? It feels like a familiar one because the glow up message, what happens is that it turns on that light switch again, that you need something to chase again, right? It gives you something to chase. It gives you something to control, even though it's not like as, even though it's not as like I said before, overtly offensive as someone, as those old magazine covers that used to be like, lose 10 pounds or lose 20 pounds for summer and fit in a bikini. Your nervous system and your body knows that there's something in this messaging that's saying, that's saying, chase this and you'll get that, right? This glow up message is, even though it's wrapped up in empowerment and improvement, it's your memory is like, oh, this is something that is going to give me some structure. It's going to give me certainty, right? And I'm going to get this result, and I'm going to attach a lot of my desires and expectations to this result. But any version of wellness that's rooted in performance or fear is not actually self-care, it's self-erasure. You are still abandoning yourself. So let's talk about the nuance between self-abandonment and self-evolution, because there is a gray space here, right? The messy middle space, the place that a lot of us get stuck in when we are healing. Because the truth of the matter is, maybe you do want to make a change to your body. Okay, so I spoke before about how some of these messages are still kind of toxic, and they really are just diet culture wrapped up in self-improvement a little bit. However, it's not black and white. Like nothing is black and white, right? Maybe you do want to make a change to your body. Maybe you want to feel stronger and be more toned. Right? Maybe you want to feel a little bit lighter, not just emotionally, not just the work you've been doing so far, which is understanding your triggers and creating healthier boundaries, right? Maybe you just, maybe it's not just emotionally lighter you want to feel, but it's physically lighter. Maybe you want to look in the mirror and you want to feel more aligned. And here's the thing that I want you to deeply, deeply hear is that that is not wrong. That goal, that desire is not wrong. It's not the enemy. Wanting more for yourself or wanting to evolve yourself, and this is the difference, is not betrayal. But the way that it's not betrayal and the nuance of how it's not betrayal is we're looking at the why we want what we want. And we have to get honest about how we're going about it. So is this desire to want to evolve your body coming from self-regard or self-rejection or trying to keep up with the Joneses, right? Is it coming from a grounded care place where there's internal worthiness, not just external validation that you're trying to get? Is it coming from grounded care and not frenetic urgency, right? Or frantic urgency, right? Is the desire to make a change or to evolve coming from your adult self? Or is it still coming from the wounded part of you that still thinks love is something that you have to earn by changing yourself, by shrinking, by, by getting validation from other people, like I said before, because that is the difference between evolving and abandonment. That's what makes improvement something that isn't diet culture. I remember what it felt like to be stuck in the cycle of emotional eating. I tried every diet out there, counting, tracking, restricting, but nothing ever worked. Food controlled my life, my thoughts, and I constantly felt guilty after eating. But once I learned how to heal the emotional triggers behind my eating and trust my body, everything changed. I stopped obsessing over food, the weight started coming off naturally, and I found real freedom in how I ate and lived. So I created the Sober Eating year-long mentorship to help other women experience the same transformation. So you can stop battling with food, you can lose weight without deprivation, and you can feel confident in your body again. In this mentorship, you'll have access to my proven nervous system rewiring method. You'll have access to live coaching with me, weekly accountability, and a community of women who truly understand your journey. You'll also have free access to my signature programs, the Emotional Eating Solution and Decoding Permanent Weight Loss, valued at $2,000. Click the link in the show notes to explore the mentorship today. You don't have to do this alone. I'll be right there with you every step of the way. Because the truth is, you can pursue change without punishing yourself. You can want a different relationship with your body without making your current one wrong. You can set health goals, weight goals, eating goals, right? Eating boundaries that are rooted in alignment and not in punishment. But you have to be really honest with yourself. You have to notice the moment that structure turns into control. The moment that the curiosity turns into obsession. The moment that the evolving yourself goes from, something that comes from a place of worthiness and, unconditional love for yourself. And, the act of evolving yourself is rooted in self-care and integrity, but that now turns into conditional love. Whereas if you don't become this version of yourself, there's something wrong with you, right? Like that's the problem. That would be abandonment. And so it's the noticing, the attention to the subtle differences that I just spoke about. That's the most important, because when you notice it, you can gently redirect it. And that is the work. That is the practice, right? It's consistently coming back to your own motivation, coming back to your own value system around why I want this glow up. Okay? Because trying to evolve your body in a season where a lot of the messaging can be dressed up and can really be diet culture in disguise, it can be hard because summer does this thing. Summer does this thing that it makes you hyper aware of your body, of how it looks, of how it moves, of how it's being perceived by other people. And that awareness, especially for those of us, myself included, with a history of, disordered eating or challenging relationship to your body, cycles of dieting and binging, right? This awareness of all these external stimuli can become loud, right? The awareness and, starting to take the gaze from what was for the last couple of months our own lived internal experience. Now our attention and gaze is turning outwards to how we're being perceived and how our bodies are going to perform in this season. And that awareness could start to become loud. And we can stop listening to our inner experience and we could start reacting to everything outside of it, right? Where suddenly maybe you're skipping meals even though you're hungry. You're like you feel more triggered by maybe macro counting again, if that's something that you've done in the past, right? You feel more like helpless to wanting to go back to that. Right? Maybe you're over exercising again, or you're constantly body checking, comparing, right? Like you're starting to go back into that spiral. And all of this adds up to the one thing I said before, is that you've left your body. Right? You've gone back into performance mode. You've gone back into managing yourself mode. Right? You've gone back into that cycle. Okay? But as we know, real safety, right? The real glow up, which is safety, doesn't come from micromanaging your body. It comes from staying in it. It comes from rhythm, your own rhythm, right? And following that rhythm, letting the rhythm be flexible, comes from nourishment, from rest, right? From not needing it to be so rigid, even if that rigidity is wrapped up in the glow up messaging, right? It's learning how to stay with yourself when everything around you is trying to take your attention in different directions, right? Your attention and your actions and your behavior with food, right? It's learning how to stay with yourself. It's learning how to know and trust your own rhythms, right? It's choosing to be present in your life instead of finding yourself doing these things that are more performative. Okay, so here's what I want to leave you with. You don't have to fix your body for summer, right? That's right. You don't have to prove anything with your glow. Right? You don't need a transformation arc to justify, your happiness, your joy, your radiance. Okay, summer can just be a season, right? Let your body be just a body, even if you want to evolve that body, like we said, but let the care be just for you, not for optics, not for performance, not for safety, not for structure, not to get validation or to feel like you've achieved something. And if you do want to glow, right, let it come from the inside. Come from nervous system regulation, from boundaries that you've created from your rhythm, right? Like boundaries with people, boundaries with your eating strategy, right? Like let it be from the inside, right? Where you don't have to necessarily do so much. Summer is such a great time to rest, to laugh, right? To enjoy the sensation of such a bright season, making connections with people that serve you, that bring out the best in you, that reflect back to you the qualities about you that make you glow, right? Because healing, as we know, we talk about this all the time in the podcast, it's not about never wanting to change or evolve, right? So many of the women that I work with and that are listening to this podcast have a goal and have a desire to evolve their body, whether that's weight loss or being strength or something, and that's fine. But you have to learn how to do it without abandoning yourself and without letting the driver of the actions be external, right? You need the driver to be internal, right? It needs to be the actions you're taking are coming from a place that's deeper than somebody else told me that I should do this. Someone told me I should follow this, right? Because once you learn how to evolve without abandoning yourself, you won't need to glow up because you'll already be shining. You'll already be shining because the shine comes from knowing yourself and being yourself. And all the things you do from that place, even if that's evolving your body, is still a glow up. All right. So enjoy this first taste of summer. Take a walk. Let yourself get basked in the sunshine on the days that the sun is shining. It's so great for your mood, for your skin. Wear sunscreen, of course. But yeah, enjoy. Can't wait to be back here with you next time. And until next time, I'm Alana, and thank you for listening to Emotional Eating Unwrapped.